Diablo 2 is a hard game. I get a lot of questions of how to play the game and do a solo self-found run. So for this video I'm going to do something a bit different than usual. I'm going to go as in-depth as I can about how I approach one of these runs. I'm also splitting it up into 3 parts, so this is part normal, part nightmare will get posted when it's done, and the same for hell. After posting those 3, I'm posting the full run. To make it even more complete, I figured I'd go ahead and make it an all quest run. As always, I'm going in hardcore. There is no difference between softcore and hardcore, so I probably should be pressing softcore on this one, but my ego would never recover, so hardcore we go. I'm going to use normal to explain things like questing and getting started. For my character I'm going with a Fireclaw Druid. It got requested a long time ago and I think it's a good one to show off the build because it's a melee build that has some weird things going on. But this guide is intended to be workable for every class or run you want to do. The Fireclaw Druid just needs to go to the trenches with everything. The quests won't be entirely in order, but my goal is to complete every single quest before leaving the act. First thing I do every single run is throwing away my starting shield. Diablo 2 is about dealing damage and I'm not dealing damage when I'm blocking. Next up is the Blood Moor. First area of the game is all about getting started on gold and experience. I pick up everything here to pawn it for cash at the local shady dealers. The other most important part to start a run is to go and get some levels. If you happen to run along the Den of Evil while in the Blood Moor, you can go and make a town portal at the entrance of it and continue moving on. After exiting the Blood Moor into the Cold Plains, the waypoint will be right there. If you made a town portal at the Den of Evil entrance, you can use it from town so you don't have to walk twice. However, I didn't, so I went ahead and moved along through the Cold Plains. The second quest is Bloodraven. I usually skip this one, cause well, I can, but there's 2 parts to this. One is the pile of zombies that you need to try and avoid. Bloodraven herself isn't too bad, she just runs away a lot. Best thing you can do is try and corner her somewhere. Catching Bloodraven is just the first introduction to 2 concepts I blatantly copied from fighting games called zoning and screen control. Don't worry about those for now, I'll go much more in depth about those in the hell part of this. After ravening the blood of the second quest, Akara has a 2-socket staff for me. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that so I can put a leaf runeword in it later. I also buy a 2-socket cap and put a sapphire in it to help with my mana costs. Having defeated Bloodraven, I have to go take the Cold Plains waypoint, so I decide to walk back a bit and go clear the Den of Evil. The den itself isn't too interesting, just walk in, smack everything around till the HP bars are at 0 and go and collect your skill point. When you're done with the Den of Evil, you go and take the Cold Plains waypoint yet again and take the other path, which will lead you to the Stony Field, home of one of the best early game farming locations. The stones you need to activate to get to Tristram are guarded by Rakanishu. He is quite dangerous because he is lightning enchanted, but he gives amazing experience. The stones themselves tend to be along the path that you need to walk. If they aren't close to the regular path, they should be at the top left of the area. You can farm Rakanishu for quite a few levels if you'd like. You can also move along. It's up to you, but you can farm him up to like level 11-ish. When you move along, also leave a town portal at the stones if you didn't find the waypoint. Make your way through the underground passage, there's no question here. In the dark woods you are looking for 2 things, the waypoint and the big tree protected by 3-head Woodfist, who uses it to hide the scroll of Inifus that he only reads for the articles. If you made a town portal at the Stony Field, do not make a town portal here, cause it means you will be walking again from the waypoint to get back to the Canstones. If you didn't find the waypoint in the Dark Wood, you can also look for the one in the Black Marsh, cause you won't need to be in the Dark Wood anymore. Back in town you can pick up a rogue mercenary if you want. This early in the game it doesn't really matter who you pick, so have fun with it. The best weapon you can get her is a 3-socket hunter's bow. You can buy those at Chassis. I didn't end up finding one of those, so I bought a 3-socket short bow instead. You want to socket some gems in there. A chipped sapphire is the best, cause it deals cold damage, giving her some crowd control. Damage wise, chipped emeralds are best, but just jam in whatever you have, it's just a starter, she won't be using it long. Remember the town portal in the Stony Field near the Canstones? Use it and get back to the stones and click on them. It'll get you to Tristram, where Deku Kane is hosting a party that got out of hand. Tristram is good experience as well, so if you want, you can clear everything out. Next up we have quest number 4, the Countess. You can find her in the Forgotten Tower in the Black Marsh. Before entering, make sure you have the waypoint in the Black Marsh, cause you'll be farming here quite a bit. You can check online what runes you need need for whatever character you are playing along with. You'll always be looking for a Tel and an Eth rune. For the Fireclaw bear I'm playing, I'll also need a Tear and a Rel rune. The Countess is the best place to farm runes, and the tower is an amazing experience farming location. What I usually do is play through the first 4 levels on the highest player count, focusing on the unique monster packs, and then for the Countess I lower the difficulty back to 1 because that's the way she drops the most runes. I'm focusing on the unique monster packs because those give the most experience. Unique bosses give 500% experience compared to normal monsters, and champion monster packs, the blue ones, give 300%. After doing a few Countess runs, a unique club drops. It's a Fellow, a great weapon for hardcore because it has 60 lightning resist and 20 fire resist. I won't be using this one because it's ethereal, but if you happen to find a non-ethereal one, it can go a long way. I pick up the rest of the runes I want and an amulet with some resist and half freeze duration, which I go ahead and equip for now. Having found a Tel and an Eth rune, I make her Stealth. Stealth has faster run walk, cast rate and hit recovery. It also helps your resistances with a nice 30 poison resist. No other armor that you can find this early on will come even close to this. I have worn this rune word all the way up to Hellbale on many a run. It's that good. Leaf has +3 to fire skills. That isn't only for the sorceress, that counts for every fire skill in the game. Which is why it doesn't say sorceress only, whereas it does on Inferno, Warmth and Firebolt. 33 cold resist is also a very nice pickup. This will be our weapon throughout normal. Druid helms can also spawn with skills on them, so just keep picking those up and you will find something sweet eventually. At level 18, the bread and butter skill of this build unlocks. Fireclaw is literally what it says, you punch things and deal a ton of fire damage. For the 5th quest, you need to find the smith's hammer. You can find it in the barracks. You don't need to deal with the smith if you don't want to. As a reward, you get an imbue from Chassis, meaning she will turn one of your plain white items into a rare. You can use it on whatever you want. Most of them will turn out crap anyway, but you might roll something good. If you want to fully min-max the imbue, you get as high a level as you can and imbue a diadem. I personally go for class specific items or whatever I need gear wise. So if I don't have a belt, I'll go for a belt. If I don't have a helm, I'll go for a helm, etc, etc. The request for this build asks to go into the Carrion Vine, so I'm speccing into that one as well for some life regeneration. In the Catacombs I end up finding a 20 fire resist Grand Charm. Items like these go a long way towards getting your resistances up to snuff in hell, so always keep a lookout for them. You can buy antidotes to make your fight with Andariel easier. Buy as many as you like. The effect doesn't stack, but every single one you use adds 30 seconds to that timer. I didn't bother with them for this fight, cause well, Andariel did not find a fellow, so she doesn't have fire resistance. And seriously, this is what my fight looked like. In Act 2, take the lower entrance to the sewers. It's not a sure thing, but usually level 2 is close to it. On level 3, go ahead and deal with Rallamant for the Book of Skill. The rest of Act 2 consists of 2 parts. The first being grabbing a bunch of stuff from some old places, and the best advice I can give for that is to be smart about where you make your town portals. It doesn't matter in which order you pick up the 3 pieces. I usually just decide which one to get first depending on what waypoints and maps I get. After getting all 3 pieces, the next quest wants you to deal with the Summoner. He's in the Arcane Sanctuary. It's random on which side he spawns, so I can't help you with that. After dealing with him, check your quest log to see what doom Duriel is in. Once you beat Duriel at hide and seek, you can buy a bunch of thawing potions and do the same thing as with the antidote. Go ahead and stack as many as you like and bring a couple into the fight. Duriel himself is one of the hardest fights in the game. When you're in there, he will come charging at you. He hits like a truck, so be careful. He also has a Holy Freeze aura that will chill you. I mentioned to bring thawing potions for this, but they don't work against the Holy Freeze. However, he also hits for cold damage, and that's where they will work. Chill and freeze are 2 different effects, so be wary of that. If you get really stuck on this fight, use the tombs to get levels. There is no shame in leveling up as much as you need. There will be level grinding later on no matter what, so you might as well just do it early. I don't have any more tips for this one. This fight is hard as balls, so good luck. The Jade figurine you need for the first quest of Act 3 will drop from a unique monster, but I'm gonna go ahead and guess that that's not the part most people will have trouble with here. I'm not gonna go into mapping, there are people explaining it way better than I could ever do, but I know the forest maps in Act 3 are hard to navigate, so I'm gonna explain a bit. The forest areas are each divided into 6 by 2 blocks. The exits and areas will be on the 3rd, 5th or 6th block. The Great Marsh might be skippable depending on how they connect, but honestly I've linked to the best guide I know about this stuff in the description. It's made by a guy called With No Filler. I can never make a better guide than he has, so I'm just gonna link to his. It's the one I use to learn the maps as well, so might as well just send it to you. The spider cavern will also be in one of the alcoves that could be the exit. Just be careful of Zazak the spider. He is protecting the super chest here and he hits very hard. The Flayer jungle works the same way as the spider forest. One of the exits on that one will have the kit bin and the Flayer dungeon. Not much to talk about for the kit bin, just kill the dude it spawns and bring it back to Ormus for your reward. Usually you will give him the ring right back, but sometimes you get a good one. I didn't this time, but maybe you got lucky. A little trick to save you a lot of walking is to leave a town portal at the kit bin and then move along from there. If you find the Flayer jungle waypoint, you can just go back to town. Do whatever you need to do and take the portal back. In the Flayer dungeon I hit level 24, meaning I get my next skill. Shockwave is what makes this build super safe. It stuns things for a while, so you can smack them down. I won't use it a lot in normal, but it will be vital in hell. The witch doctor guarding the super chest and the quest item is fire immune. If you're playing a fire build like me, just let your mercenary deal with him. After the forest you get into the lower Kurast. Congratulations, from here on out you have infinite gold and full rejuvenation potions as long as you are willing to grind for them a bit. There are no quests in the lower Kurast, but it is the best farming area in the game. You can find item bases, runes, gems, gold, charms, whatever you want here. No matter how stuck you are, as long as your character is alive to run around here, you can use the super chest to get something going again. The super chests are in the huts around the campfires. They drop a ton of items. Just turn the game up to as high as a player count as you think you can handle and go around and click on things in here. The next quest is about the Lame Essence tomb. The tomb is always in the ruined temple in the Kurast Bazaar. It is easily recognizable because it always faces the same way. The ruined temple is also where I farmed to level 25. You can go to a higher level here if you want as well, but at least make sure you are close to level 25. In the sewers, you're looking for a lever that will get you to level 2 for the next quest item. Doesn't matter if you look for it clockwise or counterclockwise, but if you encounter a golden super chest, turn around and go the other way. Once you found level 2, take the quest item. The other chests around here are super chests and can drop the same stuff as the ones in the lower Kurast. Next up, make your way to Travancore. The waypoint in here is always to the left side of the area. It's always in the same spot, so it's a guaranteed checkpoint. It's there cause in Travancore you'll find the council. My advice for them is to clear out the area surrounding them first. They didn't give a guaranteed waypoint for Duriel, but are giving you one for the council. That should tell you just how dangerous they can be. When things are safe, you can start luring them out one by one and deal with them. Just take your time here. Depending on what mods they spawn with, these guys can be pretty free or the hardest fight in the game. I happened to find a rare ring here as well. It turns out it has 28 lightning resist, so I'm gladly going to wear it. The Mephisto fight in the Durance of Hate level 3 requires lightning and cold resistances. If your lightning resist is bad, you can fix that by looking at vendors to see if they have anything with lightning resist. You can find it on belts, boots, gloves, some weapons. Worst case, you can also just try gambling for it. Don't go into the Mephisto fight with 0 lightning resist. That's a train wreck waiting to happen. Mephisto dropped me a unique morning star, which is Blood Rise. Despite sounding like an 80s movie, this is a reasonable weapon for a lot of builds, but unfortunately it's not good for a werebear, so I won't be using it. If you want to, you can farm Mephisto normal to get some starter gear. I wouldn't recommend farming him for hours or anything like that, but even like 10-15 runs can get you some fantastic stuff. In the Plains of Despair, you should go and look for Isual. He is stupidly tanky, but the quest rewards get you 2 skill points, which is totally worth it. Bring some throwing potions here as well, and you should be fine. I ended up finding a 3-socket polearm in Act 4, which I used to make a malice for my mercenary. You don't need to know all the rune words by heart, just look them up when you find a base you think might look interesting. In the River of Flame, a set amulet dropped, which turns out to be a Catan sigil, also known as not an Angelix. The Chaos Sanctuary is one of the hardest areas in the game, which makes sense cause it used to be the final area of the game in Classic. I'll talk about getting through it more in the Hell video. For now, just know that you need to activate the 5 buttons and get through Diablo's servants before the big man himself shows up. The Grand Vizier is fire immune, so you need to use your mercenary there again. Diablo has a couple of attacks. His Firestorm deals a crap ton of damage. He can also hit you with a lightning beam that is half physical damage and half lightning damage. He also does things the old-fashioned way, of just punching you. Be careful, his punches deal cold damage, so throwing potions are still relevant here. One thing that I have to warn for what didn't happen during this fight is that he can throw up a bone prison, which means that he will, well, yeah, put a bone prison around you. I don't know how else to put it. It locks you up and it's very dangerous, so be careful of that. If you're thinking to yourself, that is a lot of being warned about things and not a lot of getting told how to deal with them. That is, well, the most you can do is dodge and get out of the way of the big damage while trying to hit the big angry demon the game is named after. Diablo dropped a rare breastplate with dual resistances and 47 life, which I am going to wear over my stealth. He also dropped me tier hunch, which are 20 faster run walk, 10 resist all boots, with some stats on them. Some people will probably have already noticed, but I kind of forgot about the Hellforge quest. You can find Hephaestus' hammer in the River of Flame. The Hellforge drops you a couple of gems and a rune. It's an optional quest, but I wouldn't skip out on it. Before heading into Act 5, you want to make sure you are at least level 25, cause otherwise you are not going to get any experience. It's a penalty for being too low level in comparison to the area level. The first quest in this act is unmissable. At the end of the Bloody Foothills there's a big guy with a whip called Shank. Kill him and run away from the lag. After heading up the stairs, activate the Frigid Highlands waypoint and say hello to Eldritch the Rectifier. This guy here is one of the best experience farms in the game. Ramp up the player count as high as you like and farm experience to your heart's content. Depending on the build I'm playing, I tend to go for level 28 to about 32-ish. But I've gone all the way up to level 40 here before. I didn't encounter any of the other quests while making my way through the act, so I ended up doing the ancient quest next. This doesn't have to be the case for you, but the maps ended up in a way for me that it turned out to be obvious to do it like this. No worries, I'll do all the quests before we wrap up this video and move along to Nightmare. Now, for the ancients fight, it is a 3-on-1. Bring a mercenary. During the fight you're locked in there, you cannot make a town portal to bail on it, cause it will reset the fight. One of them is a throwing barbarian, one of them is a leap attacker, and one of them matters, cause he does whirlwind and that can really hurt. The strategy here is to split them up as much as you can and just fight them 2-on-1. If you drag the whirlwind guy to the edge of the map, he won't be able to use that, which will make the fight much easier. If you like bail running, you should look for the waypoint in the Worldstone Keep level 2. Bail running is my personal least favorite thing in the entire game, so I didn't bother. But as long as you're not hurting anyone and everyone is having fun, I'm not gonna king shame you. For the rest of the bail quest, things are actually pretty simple. Get to the throne room, clear out the bail waves, bring antidotes for the second wave, and be careful with the fifth wave cause they are very aggressive and can stunlock you. Bail has a couple of annoying attacks and he is much tankier than you think he would be, but if you made it through Duriel, the Council and Diablo, you'll be fine here as well. As always, just take your time. The one big trick I can teach you about the Bail fight is how to despawn his clone. When he spawns a clone, walk to the edge of the arena, make a town portal and go to town for at least 8 seconds. When you come back to the fight, the clone will be gone. After getting rewarded handsomely for my troubles with the Bail fight, I'm not done yet with this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to walk all the way from the Frigid Highlands again for the final 3 quests. First up we have the second quest, saving the barbarians in the Frigid Highlands. There are 3 sets of barbarians that ran out of town portals and you have to go bring them some. Their jails are pretty easy to find. If you just go through the highlands you should be able to find them all. Next up is saving Anya. She's in the Frozen River, which is a cave you can find in the Crystalline Passage. You might have already encountered it while making your way up to the Ancients. It's always guarded by champions, so be careful of those. The Frozen River is basically a Mario castle. The princess you're looking for is at the end of it, guarded by Bowser. After saving Anya, you can go talk to her to get a reward. She follows that up by opening a red portal. The portal is the actual reward for the quest, because in here you will find 2 things. The best experience farming location for all of normal and the most dangerous quest, which is why I saved it for last, because that was totally planned and I didn't autopilot and forget about it at all. I would never. Nilatak is on the 3rd level. It always has the same setup. A door, 4 ways to go and a dreary color scheme. This is very similar to the Arcane Sanctuary. Luckily, this does have a tell on where the bad guy is. All you have to do to know for sure which way you need to go is to look where these eyes are. Nilatak will be in that direction. Normal Nilatak isn't too horrible just yet, so I'll go much more in depth on the fight when we do it in hell. For now though, be wary of his corpse explosion. It's the same as the necromancer skill and it will straight up delete your life total. Once you reach him, you can just take him down. And with that, all the quests on normal are cleared and I'll see you for the nightmare part of this.